Well, welcome everyone. Bienvenidos to Cultivating Voices live poetry for our first reading of March. And it's our fifth anniversary month. It has finally arrived. Oh my gosh. Well, today we open this celebratory month with a poet's focus that could not be more timely given the political, dare I say, assaults we all, wherever you live in the world, experience at the hands, mouths, and policies of an elected and unelected group of thugs in the United States dismantling a democracy. We know that the personal is political, and I can't think of a more poignant, power-filled group of poets to demonstrate these realities than the editor of Small Harbor Publishing, Allison Blevins, who's the author of the new collection, Where Will We Live If the House Burns Down? From Persia Books. Beautiful out there in Massachusetts, Western Mass. And the contributors to the anthology, Braving the Body, edited by Nicole Callihan, Pichchenda Bao, and Jennifer Franklin from Small Harbor Publishers. And all the contributors that we have today. I am going to remind you all that following our features, Allison and the contributors to Braving the Body, who will be introduced by the editors of the anthology, there will be a limited open mic. Thank you all for signing up for that. And a few housekeeping tips for all of you. Please stay muted unless you are reading. The chat is live, of course, for you to spread the love, encouragement for our readers today. And I encourage you, if this is a reading where, dare I say, we're writing and listening about the body, which has its hosts of joys and traumas. It's a spectral experience. If you we always ask on Cultivating Voices live poetry for our readers to provide content notice if it would be in service to our readers in staying safe in their listening so that they can maybe mute during your reading. The open mic, when we get to it, is one poem up to 3 minutes. And please respect that to allow as many voices to be heard in our limited open mic today. Well, I'm your host today, Sandy Yannone, and but for Cultivating Voices Live Poetry, but I have the pleasure of being able to introduce the three editors of Braving the Body from Small Harbor Publishing earlier this year, and they will really be guiding us through curating this incredibly prismatic reading. And I've had the pleasure, I was talking about this before, of I knew this anthology was coming out last year. I happened to be at the New York Poetry Festival and I saw a table with the anthology and I ran up to it like a puppy. Uh, I guess that's pouncing, or I don't know what a puppy does. I don't have a dog. I yeah. But I went up to the table, incredibly enthusiastic, and was able to meet for the very first time Nicole Callihan and Pichchenda Bao. Of course, I had known of the work, the amazing work that Jennifer Franklin was doing on her own as a poet and um, with her professional career at the time with the Hudson Valley Writing Center. So I was very enthusiastic about getting this anthology and hoping there would be a day when we would be able to bring this power-filled anthology to all of you here on Cultivating Voices, live poetry. And today is the day. So I am going to turn this over to uh, the incredibly visionary and extremely hardworking editors of the Braving the Body anthology, Nicole Callihan, Pichchenda Bao, and Jennifer Franklin, with incredible gratitude to the three of you for bringing this amazing group of poets to our stage today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandy. And it was such a pleasure to meet you at the New York City Poetry Festival. Actually, I'd never done anything like that. And so it was really fun to like get to meet people in person that you've heard about or seen on social media and stuff. So it was very, very nice. And I'm so happy to be here today with you all. And we always like to open our Braving the Body readings with just taking a little moment to set our intention and be in our bodies. So I'm just going to invite us to take a breath, although I just now hear my baby crying, of course. Oh, she's very loud. Okay, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna take a breath because this is what we do. We have to live through and breathe through all these moments. And it is a very difficult moment for a lot of people. And I just want to have us all be seen here and heard. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, honey bunny. Look. Mommy's right here. Okay? And you're gonna help. Can you help? We're gonna help. Okay, ready? Ready? We're gonna take a deep breath. Ready? We're gonna take a deep breath. We're ready to listen and we're ready to be here with each other. And I'm going to turn it over to Nicole, who's going to introduce uh, our feature. Or Jennifer? I forget. Somebody else. I'm going to mute before she starts crying. Nicole.
I will take that. Thank you, Chenda, for that breath. And hi, B. Hi. I have to say that we have watched B grow from the tiniest baby. We used to Zoom to have our Braving the Body meetings. And she just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. And one day she will help us edit Braving the Body number 57. We can't wait. Thank you, B. Um, I am so honored to introduce Allison Blevins to you. I for um Braving the Body had a complicated crisis. Um, And Allison really truly guided us out of that crisis and came and published it just kind of swooped in. And it was so just so thoughtful and compassionate. And I was trying to write an intro earlier and I kept coming up with the word soulfully indebted. But then I Googled like synonyms for soulful indebtedness, and I realized that's not what I am. Um, and then I was like, well, maybe Allison feels like my like sister stranger. She's just because I don't really know her. I mean, I really like her. I've met her. I really like her, but we've never shared a meal. Um, we've never had a cup of coffee. Um, in person. I don't that we've never had one virtually. I do though feel as if I know her in that deepest, most incredible way because I read her poems. Um, and because she saved the anthology. But reading her Where Will We Live If the House Burns Down was pretty staggering. It's one of those books that you just sit down and you read it cover to cover, which doesn't have, there are very few poetry books that way. But when you buy this book, I'm sure there's a link in the chat, but when you will just want to sit, like carve out an afternoon and just read it cover to cover because the way that it collects is um that's my how you need to do it. So thank you for trusting me on that one. I wrote a little cento smash up of it's of the book plus Allison, a couple of Allison's Facebook posts plus her very incredible bio. So I'm going to read that to formally introduce the book. And thanks again, Sandy. And thank you to my co-editors, and to all the contributors. I'm so excited to hear from the anthology too, but this is for Allison. Allison Blevins is a queer disabled writer. She's our publisher, founder and director of Small Harbor. She's grim, enjoys backlighting, peopleish and unpeopleish. Often she finds herself in the basin as if a void or whirling cosmos has opened in her bathroom. It's the water. Or maybe she's the eye, patching grim together like an exquisite corpse. Please enjoy the hilarity that is short, curly. Her hair hurts so much. Now it is just a nice, dull, stubby pain. Think of your own intangible pieces that once gapped. Think of the sergeant, how he makes grim a damsel, how everything they need to know about war they learn in bed together. Frosting in the can, a powdered body at a funeral. Laughter is the same as sobbing from behind. Laughter is the body pushing grief out from the shoulders in shudders. Blevins has been nominated, has been a finalist, has won and won and won. And through it all, she remembers a fall day when she was a girl, sweatered on her parents' brown sectional sofa. She remembers, this is how it feels to be whole and surrounded by soft. Grimm's memories are like that. Be careful where you put your hands. Allison has intimate friends. We'd all call this irony, even though it isn't. Videos of cysts pressed to popping, coffee with no sweetener, emotional cheating. Everyone tells Grimm she looks great, beautiful. Aren't we all beautiful? This isn't helpful. Where will we live if the house burns down? Ownership. This belongs to me. I want Grimm to tell the children about the bridge over Mississippi, or Allison does, or the eye, before the sergeant was the sergeant, before Grimm was Grimm, an MA at Pittsburgh State University, an MFA from Queen's University in Charlotte, before the eye was the eye. Don't try to move her pieces into a more pleasurable position. And now, Allison Blevins, grab your umbrella in case she decides on rain.
Well, crap, Nicole. Thank you so much. That was, well, just what the heart needed, I guess. It was beautiful. Thank you. And Sandy and Jennifer and Chinda for all the thanks. You've all just been so incredible. Nicole, I think of you as my like fun aunt that's somehow the same age, but is gonna have lots of wisdom anyway, since you couldn't decide. That's what I think. Um, I'm going to read a few new ones just since I'm already crying before I read the book. Okay. Earlier, Jane Kenyon. Earlier, Jane Kenyon entered a conversation, both omen and curse. So many poems begin after diagnosis, many of yours, and now all of mine. Lady Jane, our oracle of otherwise, remind me to slow down. I'm in no hurry any longer to get where I am going. This one's named after a song that makes me cry. It's pretty irrelevant to the poem, but just fun. The title is Fucking Florence and the Machine and the Dog Days. So many befores and afters. We get takeout and watch Glee on Netflix. Now we have this before and after. MS seemed slow. Everything about cancer is quick. Do I write the children letters for each occasion I might miss? Looming over the kitchen pots, changing ribbons, each May rain and how wind flings color about. How will they find happiness, always waiting for a letter to appear? Maybe just one for each. But what does one letter tell a child about the stranglehold of love? How, for them, I'll lean into this grip, push hard, and hope to bruise. Monday, January 6th. We moved the desk I never use into our bedroom, pretending a desk might be useful somehow during chemo. My final pathology report posted this afternoon, and we Googled. We shouldn't have. Nottingham score. So silly and cartoonish. I've become a small fox. Between the desk and the bed, I might never leave the small forest of this room. I'm going to read a couple from my newest book, Where Will We Live? If the House Burns Down. You maybe could tell from Nicole's introduction that there's two main characters, Grim and the sergeant, and then also the narrator, who I like to think of as increasingly unhinged, much like myself. And the narrator and Grim are also pretty much me too. I'm worried Grim is becoming the central figure of this story. I didn't plan it, but here we are anyway. I should mention those nights, giddy on ecstasy, a lover brushed Grim's curls straight, how the comb trilled static against her back, or how one of her lovers killed a friend with a car, or how one burnt down a house in revenge, thought it was empty, or how one held Grim by the throat in a wet alley, in the grocery store when the son was a baby. He vomited as he played in the seat of the metal cart. Grim caught the vomit in her hands like they were a bowl. I think that may be what love looks like. We are not held, but bound to each other. Eventually, there was nothing left to do but toss the vomit to the floor. No one came to save her. Everything they need to know about war, they learned in bed together. The sergeant makes Grim a damsel, red-hooded, eyes veering off the path with thrusts and strikes. I watch her be stripped naked. Everyone is hungry. Everyone wants to eat. Make her a pedestal. The daughters, her daughters. I am the voice in their ears, the wolf long low howling. I think I have a couple minutes left, so I think it's just a couple more. At the son's first funeral, he stands over the powdered body and asks, does the carcass take all that jewelry when it goes? He has only read about the dead, only animals, mostly deer and dogs, a spider. This reading was intended to teach empathy. Grim tells him not to say carcass. The son laughs and laughs, holds Grim's hand tighter and tighter. They've discussed this laughing before. She puts her arm around his shoulders. Laughter is the same as sobbing from behind. All the cousins and uncles in the filling pews behind them. Laughter is the body pushing grief out from the shoulders and shudders. Grim sits in the car outside the pain clinic. A patient smokes and paces with a limp that matches Grim's. They smile at each other. When Grim's mother comes to the house to watch the children, the mother folds the laundry, always waiting, in the white plastic basket. She can't stop herself. She folds their underwear into neat, tight squares. That is the love Grimm wants from those responsible for her body. As I write, I wish I could insert authorial omniscience, proclaim this was the moment I realized what would happen. Every room is a ticking clock. Only the sergeant doesn't see how sound reverberates in the children's chests. Grimm can see how a hyena sips at the corners of their canvas. Grimm knows the sphinx, dull head, black shawl, and her hanging flayed heart, tightens her arms around their chests, hugs them all tighter and tighter in their crumbling house. Thank you all so much.
Allison, I fear that I went into your time by introducing you. I would like for you to read two more poems, please, if you don't mind.
Goodness gracious.
I'm
On
gonna say,
tour.
Nicole, you're
On
after
the
my own heart.
tour.
Nicole, you're after my own heart. Extending the program. Extending the program. I don't care. Thank you.
I have two small ones that I had picked. So you knew Nicole somehow, I guess. Grimm is lucky to exist only on the page. Grimm is not obligated to adhere or behave. Here is when and where to speculate, to say, I imagine. Say it once out loud. I say it now to remind you we all have flaws. This is the last one. In the car after a trip, they argue. The one they have on repeat, like some distant moon's orbit, like laundry, like the children's running path around the kitchen island. Grim asks the sergeant, Grim asks the sergeant what he needs. I need you to need less from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Allison. That was beautiful. Really incredible. So we now are moving, I mean, as if we have not been so deeply in the body. We will continue. We'll keep going into the body. So I am honored to introduce Jenny Franklin, who is going to read a few poems or for you all, and then Chenda will read some poems, and then we'll hear from our Braving the Body community. Yes.
Thank you so much, Nicole. Thank you, Sandy, for having us. And thank you so much, Allison, for that gorgeous reading and for your work. This book is truly incredible. I hope everyone gets a copy. You can see everyone's putting it in the chat. The links are there. Um, and thank you for all your work and for your poem in Braving the Body and for, as Nicole said, saving our anthology. It's been such a joy to work with you over this last year and a half almost. I'm just going to read two short poems from my new manuscript in progress, Fire in Her Brain, which is poems about Lucia Joyce, Virginia Woolf, and Sylvia Plath, as well as about Anna Olivia and myself. They're two sonnets. The first one was published in Bennington Review. It's called The Girl Who Had Never Been Born. Before my daughter wakes up, I savor the rare silence, nurse a mug of warm coffee while I read a volume of conversations with Beckett, who insists when he met Lucia, she was already mentally disturbed, that everyone saw it except Joyce, who refused to give up on her talent. Beckett admits he never saw her in her crazy states. Still, he maintained Jung had her in mind when he spoke about the girl who had never been born. Anna Olivia rouses herself. Sheets and comforters rustle against her legs. Soon I will enter the room and dress her, so she can spend the day as she has spent each day for the past 23 years, watching puppets sing songs on a small screen. Soon I will lie down with her. And this poem was published in Poetry Northwest, and it's called On the Day We Had Tickets for the Rothko Retrospective. We bring our disabled daughter to the dermatologist for a biopsy of her rash. Welts that look like hives 4 weeks ago have blossomed into bruises. Twice, the doctor numbs our daughter's side with a long needle. We play her favorite songs to distract her from the pain and the blood. She sits silent, still, blinks, trusts us with a crushing faith. The canvas of her body lies heavy on the examination table, blooming red, orange, purple. The blocks of color saturate our eyes. Thank you so much. And now we're going to hear poems from Chenda.
Hi, Jenny. That was amazing. Thank you so much for those poems. And thank you, Allison. I'm still just thinking about these poems, and I'm just so grateful to be here. And I thought that I'm just going to read one poem, and it's a poem that I had been asked to respond to poems by Ukrainian poets for an event last year, and I thought it was, I just wanted to read this poem. So I'm going to read a portion of the poem that I had been responding to. It's a poem by Eelke Lampe, and her poem is, I mean, it's translated by Verlana. Oh, I can't remember her last name, Verlana. But and so her poem is My Country Now Looks Like a Ghetto. My country now looks like a ghetto, its border outlined in blood streams and tears, crooked like tacky lipstick quickly smeared on in the dark. All thoughts, actions, words, even silences are suffocated by blanket censorship. War of war to war on war with war during war about war, focusing only on one word, round and round and round. This is now the proper work for Ukrainian writers. And so I took that as my title. It's called The Proper Work, and it has an epigraph from Ocean Vuong. What if it wasn't the crash that made us, but the debris? The daughter of war, born in war, out of war, prays to no one. She knows in times of war, time loses all meaning, and God retreats, leaving the work of war and carrying on to the implacable days that keep dawning indiscriminately, useless days, caked like grit on unwashed skin. The daughter of war, wary and weary, picks up the pieces of war falling like rain. War collects in the ditches next to the blasted roads, seeps into the groundwater under the rubble, contaminating everything until there is nothing left of use, nothing else to do except the most infernal task, public grieving in front of a splintering audience whose attention might be the real-time measure of who wins wars. The daughter of war, tongue-tied with war, tired of war, tries to warn us. Something sharp refuses to dislodge. Maybe dust from bombs or unchecked fires. Maybe the ongoing death toll exacting its price. Even the slightest memory of any peace is barbed, caught tight in the throat, so that every time she speaks with pain. She speaks to us every day. Thank you. And I think Nicole was going to read. Yes.
Okay, yes. I'll read and then we will in the chat. I'm a Virgo, if anyone cares, but I'm a Virgo, so I'm gonna get very like putting the next three people in the chat who will be reading. So I will go and then we'll kick off. Or Jenny, were you wanting to say something more? No. Okay, we'll see. We'll see. I'm a flexible Virgo. I'm very fluid, right? I have a new book that will be out in 13 days, whatever that means, whatever it means to be out. And I'll just read one poem from it. It's called The Examination. The book is called Slip. The Examination. How does your body feel right now? Like I've waded into an above ground pool in a Target bathing suit. Like I'm a European man with dry mouth. Like I want to put my fingers somewhere. Like I wonder if that thigh chafing butter stick works. Like I've got to pee out these 2 glasses of kombucha. Come closer. Like I reek of Tampa. Like a swallow of wine. Come even closer. Like I am standing in an elementary school talking to other mothers about snacks. Like I need mouthwash. Like I need someone to slap me. Closer still, like a radiant pig. Now stay. How does your central nervous system feel right now? I was just thinking, what if I do have satin walls? What if I do love cranes? I think probably I am the enemy, but I like you. Usually the chain around my neck, my ankle embarrasses me, a ring of eczema where my ring should be. Also under the bridge, the snake eating the bluegill. I was hungry too, I should say, will be, but a not wife I am not. Throat knot, heart knot, what not. I've draped my wet pants over the radiator, and I swear I will not cry publicly. Not here, not today. And your brain, how does it feel? Funny that you ask. It feels like a billion of nerve cells arranged in patterns to coordinate thought, emotion, behavior, movement, and sensation. An egg frying on a pan, sheet music, an egg and a nest, an egg being pushed out of a bird, getting laid by a bird. My mother, still radiant when they took her, a slapped face slapped again, the painting with its sky, the broken shell of a robin's blue egg clinging to my thumbnail. I don't know. I don't even know what that means. Okay, so braving the body, our blood, sweat, tears, etc., all other bodily fluids, and joy, pain, some more joy, a lot more pain, all the feels. So we will start with Jan Beatty, who I'm so excited is here. I'm excited everyone's here, but it'll be Jan, then Eileen, then David. Feel free just to introduce yourselves, say hello, and we'll just roll with it. All right. Thank you, brave ones.
Okay, everybody. Thanks, Nicole. And thanks everyone for being here and for reading. I never met a flexible Virgo, so this is a first for me. So I'm going to read a poem from the anthology. It's called Abortion with Gun Barrel. So I guess there's a content alert there, but I worked as an abortion counselor. I used to be a social worker. I worked at Allegheny Women's Center in Pittsburgh, and a number of years ago, it's still open, which is great. But you know, thinking of everything but the war against women, that is worse. I think I'll read this. Abortion with Gun Barrel. The 12-year-old walks thin like a child, her hair alive in vibrating threads in the clinic light. Her mother, my daughter, I give my permission. And the girl cannot be real or the sky would burn, not bleed like it does in the waiting room of grown women. The mother in the brittle inner office scribbles her name small on the collapsing form. Now move the flying hands of the counselor who becomes the first bird, stripping the sky blank with air leaving. Now she walks back to the maze of illuminated bodies to find a way to make herself dissolve. Not what I wanted for you, not this. In the inner body of the clinic, the divining of this choice, the small name solid, the songbird stopped, the singing continues. I am the counselor. There are cracks in the barrel of the gun. There is aiming, shots of sorrow, shots of light. I am ruinous with light. We are ruinous with making our lives in the procedure room. The 12-year-old opens the leaving door, a bird let loose, no clear note to sing. Song of sorrow and praise as she wears the skin of herself, this idea of skin that she's learning. So I thought I would read one poem. I have a new book, Drag Stripping, University of Pittsburgh Press. Um, and, these are heavy poems today and Braving the Body. So again, I guess this would be a content alert kind of thing. This is one I don't usually read. I was born in an orphanage in the Hill District of Pittsburgh. I spent the first year of my life there, and this sort of talks about that a little bit, but there's body in here. And I didn't learn my name till I was 32 years old. It was a long search. This is called Scarline. On any given day, they would lock me up. I miss those hills of the body, the line bruises from slamming the edge of the dresser. Those lines of demarcation are the scar lines of hurricanes, new continents rising to the surface. This happened here. This girl lived. I was a split baby, half a body here, half nowhere. Asylum baby, split off with the dull tools of the cutters. I stayed until birds flew out of me, until words became animals, mothers selling us to strangers with a wallet. And the walking bodies say, when I saw you, I knew you were mine. I'm not yours. You can't own a split thing. I found the cheap gold cross you sent buried under papers and books, the letter where your priest told you adoption is God's work. I don't know if you're still alive. Birth mother, finding you was like finding religion, but without the cruelty and deception. But then what's left? only continents, landforms, upsurges. In this split kingdom, this body walk of life, I'm the scar line. Thank you.
That was gorgeous. Thank you all for including me in this event, and congratulations, Allison, on your beautiful book. I'm going to read I'm Eileen, and I'm going to read a poem from the anthology called Flight of the White-Throated Sparrow. And this poem comes from my first book, Child Ward of the Commonwealth, that is chiefly about my experience as a child, foster care child in Massachusetts.
Eileen,
Yeah.
do you mean to have your camera off?
Oh, no, sorry.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Flight of the White-Throated Sparrow. As tall as a table when my mother told me the dead someday return, I cast earth, fists, dirt full, one to the next. I feed the trees, flap my hands, but do not fly. Any god may assume habits of a white-throated sparrow and need not explain why. I ask maples if they miss the bodies they drop, miss their quietudes. I carry their red deaths, entomb them in wax. After years apart, the state brings my brothers and sisters to visit. It's almost as if we're alive. And this next poem I'm particularly happy to share today, not because it's a happy poem, but because it's for Jeff Oakes, a dear friend of Sandy Yannone and me, who I published and who gave up his body in 2023. In Human Drag for Jeff Oakes. In novel tongue, you named things, not like a Martian calls a book a Caxton, bird with many wings. Instead, your nouns rang thin moonlight after a grown bully smashed your mom's jam jars. You weren't grown when your mother sprouted more asters on her swollen face than the field where you both hid until it slept it off and left for work. Did you, as 12-year-old divine, your earth form was designed to guide the contused along the Allegheny? Pittsburgh loved you, how you taught kids to empty garbage into elegies while your dog chewed lightning branches by the railroad tracks. Guess everybody's on their way to someplace else. I wish you never had to unzip your human suit. Where'd you wind up? Blind drives after sunset? No one can find you. Let's posit that drag queens were sent to open our hearts. Were you too, angel and human drag, sent to embrace the whole mess of us? I see us back at a breakfast nook, wondering about a water wheel just outside the window. Does the pond's indigo turn grain to flour? Unspoken over poached eggs. Could our fingers ever spin granite into verse anyone would read? You'll have a book. No, you will. Your words on my lips, I recite the things. Why cling to figurines? Green toad, blue parakeet. Jeff, you died and left behind your shoestrings, button roses, this ode, and bittersweet. Thank you.
Eileen, wow, thank you for those poems and for bringing Jeff to us. I'm David Groff, and I want to thank Sandy, who is such a great culture worker, bringing us all together, and Shendra, Nicole, and Jennifer for doing this anthology, and Allison for your poems and for helping me get Braving the Body to my students last semester. Each one got a copy, and they were really, really grateful for that. It was exactly what they needed. I'm going to read two related poems. The first one is from the anthology, and it is called Days of 1986. My suspect blood. Dr. Soroti filled a vial. I had to take myself down the grim avenue to the Board of Health in the cold spring evening, crosswalk after crosswalk, as the sun sidled in. I saw hundreds of others like me bearing their blood, but inside their bodies. The vial, I wanted to pluck it from my backpack and prop it on top of a payphone or stash it in the trash can with the dead daily news, wanting no news, not even good news, all news cleaving me from my brothers. But I kept taking steps, the street annoying with life, the sun incumbent, the storefronts bloody gold, until I had to enter the Board of Health to find an unguarded tray of vials and place mine among them, all of us numbered together an hour before. I went back into a city vital with night, the world a blade so cutting that at times I could feel. This next poem is related. Uh, as I said, it's called Nights of 2027. These days, we try to forget how Clay's HIV, even this discreet, insinuates him into swifter aging, every bike ride and squat a stay to pacify the inflammation. While I, his husband, negative in virus and attitude, grizzle. In 2027, the acrobatics of sex and walking require consideration. Every risk is a rehearsal. Say it's 9/14/27. Say it's Christmas. It's a day we remember before it happens. The day when one or both of us goes, or our doctor, or a brother or sister, or the corporate kid banker down the hall. Say Cavafy's hanky salesman poofs, or his barista goes for good. Parents, they regressed past risk, ghosts and stories gone for days. We won't exactly expect the exits abrupt or extended, the truant scooter, the diagnosis, Clay's ember of infection, a giant flame, a plague, the plaque detaching from my aorta wall, the aorta itself dissecting. But there we go. Say the barbarians come at last. We barely believe the globe will give itself away, strained too much in its traces, like a carriage horse on the street. We have to expect an asteroid to land on us latter-day dinosaurs in 2049, or else incineration in another year, whose rune or ruin you will know if you're around to read a poem. In the days of 2027, holding hands in bed, entangled in our embrace, we feel our heat in the blanket. Or maybe it's the night we cool. In the morning, we lift the shade. There's light and there's lack. Thank you.
Those were beautiful, as have everyone's poems been. My name is Emily Hockaday. I'm so happy to be reading with everybody. Thanks so much, Sandy, Chenda, Jenny, Nicole, and Allison. I'm especially glad to be here celebrating Allison and her new book. Allison is so kind and generous as an editor, a poet, a publisher, and a human. So I'm very glad to be here in support. The first poem I'm going to read is from Braving the Body, and this one is titled The Heart Grows Full of Weeds. Shepherd's purse, dandelion, sorrel, too many root in the soft and vulnerable places for me to safely excise them. To tug on the stalks would dislodge the buried past, the lungs, my muscles and ligaments. We all want to survive, and sometimes that means propagating past the point of sense. The shepherd's purse shatters, and seeds take to the wind. My cardiologist says of my chest cavity, there are so many organs packed in there together. He's not worried about the skipped beats or the pounding. I tend to myself when no one else will. I tend to overthink. Honeybees aren't picky, says the local beekeeper. They thrive on clover and dandelion and violets, the ordinary plants that grow between sidewalks and cardiac tissue, the stalwart vegetation that fills the holes in your memory or your days or your lawn. The second poem I'm going to read is from my new book, Blood Music, which just came out from Small Harbor Editions 2 weeks ago. And I'm reading The Most Body. It is a book about the body. It's about pregnancy, illness, death, and addiction. But I think the one that I'm reading is like as body as this book gets. The only content warning for this is grief, and also like there are weights for different parts of the body spoken in the book, in the poem. It was written after a prompt where you like type in your mass and it breaks down what different parts of your body might weigh. So that could be a content warning. The weight. After learning my bones weigh 24.8 pounds, I think of my father's ashes, carried in a plastic bag with a zip tie, disposed of by shovel and hole, eventually, in our family yard. After seeing his body shut down, I grant my own grace in aging. Haven't I spent enough time hating these 49.5 pounds of muscle, 11.3 pounds of blood, 61.31 pounds of fat and organ, and all the viscera that makes me the person that you love? This body that, despite shedding 400 eggs, nurtured one chosen embryo and brought her into the world with your hand on my back. All the numbers are useless. I kissed my father's forehead and the skin felt like wax. I didn't want her to know yet. Christy held the shovel that dug the hole. We tipped the bag until it was empty. Thank you.
Emily, those were beautiful. Thank you everyone for your poems so far. It's been really a very emotional kind of reading. And thank you to the editors and to Sandy for putting this on. I'm so happy we're all here in support of Allison. I'm going to read the poem from the anthology, which is another heart poem, so I guess we're on a theme here. And it has a running title, Into a Villanelle. On our 31st wedding anniversary, I discover my heart has hardened. Its cave-like passageways half occluded, with helictites that catch the blood flow in their corkscrews. I am rock, rock steadied. In kidney lobes, calcium has marbled every so often to bowl itself through cave-like passageways, which, half occluded, spill out scarlet protests, undiluted. Stones inch out from salivary glands to fragile corkscrews. I am rock, rock steadied. Particles gathering in joints, crystallized. My body collects quartz, but not for show. Its cave-like passageways half occluded, redirecting grit to whirlpool, eddied. Pan me for gold and find pebbles to throw, plain and corkscrew. Rock, rock, unsteadied. Still, with amethyst glint, geoded, I'll break open to the chisel of you. My cave-like passageways, half occluded, not yet screwed, I'm rocked by rocks, am steadied. And I'm going to read a related poem from my newest collection, Inheritance with a High Error Rate. This is about my brother and father. Considering chagrin. The Chagrin River is one of 5 major Lake Erie tributaries, stocked by the Ohio DNR with little manatee strain steelhead, and is a fly fisherman's delight. My father can no longer fly fish, can't torque the cast, and its potent energy load against his spine, narrowed like a reed-choked river, banks growing into the water. Nor can he wade into a current, pit his balance against it, not to win, but to stalemate, as he flicks the filament forward while astride the layers of Cleveland shale. My sister wants to take him fishing anyway when he visits her in Akron, recreate the days when he used to drive her and my brother to Lake Michigan's parent streams for brown trout and steelhead that steam into the sky with no apparent trajectory, sneaking them Labatts. Now 1 birthday older than my brother will ever be. My sister wonders if the jolting of a boat on Lake Erie will strain the knee that lacks cartilage, the hip that sinks like hope 10 degrees lower than the other. The men in our family die young, in their 50s, unpredictable attacks grabbing them like lures in the lip, though my father has had a real screaming fight that keeps extending the line. My brother wanted to retire early, run a fishing boat. In the end, my sister finds a captain willing to go out at sunset for 2 hours, who assures her it won't be too rocky, not hot, and enough time for my father to catch his limit. Thank you.
Wow, that was wonderful, Jen. Hi, everyone. This is, I just wanted to say thanks also for creating such a good vibe. When I was looking at my schedule, I thought 3 o'clock on a Sunday, that's like the sleepiest time of the entire week. And then, but now it's like I'm having chills, I'm crying, I'm laughing. It's just really special. And that says a lot to about Allison and the rest of you all. And I guess I'm just going to start with my poem from the book. Everyone, you can hear me, right? Yeah. Okay. Razor burn. My mother asked me about not shaving my legs, so I learned many things about my body are a barrier to my pleasure. On the ground, I am perceived. The hill behind the beach, across from the ocean, is sand on asphalt. I feel tacky fingers walk down the top of my vertebrae. We all need oil, smooth things, to make things go. I say yes when I am with you, so that I can say no at all other times. I told you, I want to be all brain or all body, but I'm always both. We are a hologram until you unhurriedly press your hand over my open mouth. I say thank you. I am good. I'm grateful for my objectness. The beach road is dangerous to walk down, especially when the whole family has a bad knee. You pet my cheek before palming it, and I try to be clean while looking out at the full ocean through the window, and I fall asleep with my arms in an X over my chest. I hope I wake up and I'm still here. And then the next poem is from my chapbook from 2019, Harbinger from Finishing Line Press. So it's kind of an older poem, but it does have to do with the body. Wooden porch. I'm young, just beginning to think about my own body, sitting with wet hair after emerging from the river at night, poking a chubby finger at live, wriggling bait, plant cords around my ankles, and being touched, just tickling. 17 on a side table and the X-Files flickering out through the screen door. My eyes are pulled underneath where I see beams for support, but not without design, latticework, and behind it, below in the dark, maybe even in this short time, something has grown.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for including me, and I'm very grateful to be a part of this gathering. And congrats to Allison. And thank you to the editors of Braving the Body. I'm going to read the poem that was included in the anthology, and then one that I recently revised. The Hallway. I walked on ceilings when nobody was watching. If I opened my stance, lowered my head, and pushed down my hands, the ceiling became the floor. Nobody believed me. They had not seen me do it, nor had they paid attention to my developing skills. The hallway was the best place to practice my upside down world. To concentrate on walking, I closed the brown shuttered doors to all the bedrooms. Sometimes my hair would fly up and I would have to tie it back. When my head grew dizzy, I floated down on my back and lay flat on the floor right below the light. Who would believe in me if I did not believe in myself? I knew the power I had could be tamed by the family. To this day, nobody knows where I am when I am not home. And this next poem, it has a violence, some violence that is mentioned. The Thankful Sister. Hamida has walked from her house on the hilltop with heartwood on her wrist, the oil kissing the coffee mug that she hands to me now at the cafe. Sister, how are you? On the table, she spreads oracle cards, mists my face with juniper sage to cleanse my aura. Last night a boy mugged me. What would you have done? Kicked him in the groin. With a heavy FBI-issued pen, she taps her knuckles, pushes it to her skull, now gently to her chin. We have reasons to use such small weapons. Since you don't have one, a single key is best to fight. I raise my elbows for her to examine. Only my arms are sore, only my arms. She frowns. Now I smell the smoky oud on my own wrists, and sipping the fragrance coffee, I have swilled a potion of protection made by accident. Hamida, the praiseworthy sister, gives thanks to the small injury. A woman's elbow is stronger than a man's fist. You are unscathed. That is always the goal. Thank you.
Monica, that was beautiful. So good to see you again. Hi. I am going to read from my poem from Braving the Body first, which also appears in my first book, General Release from the Beginning of the World. And let me just pull it up. Dead Fathers Club. I have poor depth perception. I can't thread a needle, can't get through. You crossed over long ago. I'm still on this side of your death. I raise my arms to block the next blow, and it will come. I predict it with this ruined machinery. The punishment for remembering is another truth. I'm the patchwork woman. My heart, a low-grade inflammation. My skin, a dated map. Mottled record of breakage. No guide for this dark walk towards God. or blindness. I eat my own hands so as not to touch another's. I know it's depressing. I'm gonna read a poem from my forthcoming book. It's coming out March 25th, and that just went up for pre-order today. And it's called To Phrase a Prayer for Peace, and it's basically a cryologue for the Hamas-Israel war. I just was writing every day. And this is love poem for day 39. Love poem for day 39. What I want tonight is only a small thing. I want to write that poem about enough, the one that says enough of the brutal, or the one that starts with you selling roses, or to lie on a white damask Victorian couch, my hair coiffed elaborately, my ardent breasts draped in an amber satin dress. One elegant hand thrown across my brow, a shoe having fallen from my delicate foot. But I don't have delicate feet, and those poems have already been written, and I can't find the courage tonight to love. Thank you, you guys. I'll put all those links in the situation. Thank you to the Braving the Body people, to the 3 editors, to Sandy for having us here, and especially to Allison for being with us. And I forgot to say my name, which is Donna Spruijt-Metz, and now I'm stopping.
Hi, everybody. It's so lovely to be with all you amazing people today. I'm going to read my poem from Braving the Body first. And I'm Ren Wilding, and my pronouns are they, them. Snakeskin. I have a particular slither in my chest, coiling me awake. My lungs will not open. I sit against the bathroom wall, tiles slicked with shower steam hissing, threw me a signal. As a child in the grocery store with my mother, people stare. How could such a rattle come out of that small throat? I am trying to give myself a warning that my body will be haunted by what it sheds. And this next poem is in the latest issue of the Comstock Review, and it's a response to all the anti-trans stuff that's happening. Trans archaeologist. Your trowel shifts the dirt around my skull. 2 queers nod across the desert of eyes that never learned to see us. You are the first to love me again. Your hands on my ribs unearth the softness shucked from me. Your brush will read my skeleton, a memoir of every trans body outlawed. We are dangerous because we will not disappear. Thank you.
We are dangerous because we will not disappear. I mean, put that in the chat a million times, everybody. Just put that in the chat a million times. And then some. It just so happens that I'm reading a book that I don't know how I didn't know existed in 2017. I'm literally reading it right now. I just bought it last week at the Grolier Bookshop in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And if you've not read it, from 2017, from Sibling Rivalry Press, Subject to Change, Trans Poetry, and Conversation. I really, really encourage you. There's a big shout out to the what I'm pretty sure was the very first trans anthology, Troubling the Line. So just want to give a shout out there, just because that's what I'm reading right now. Thank you. We're gonna do an official thank you from our audience to all of our readers from Braving the Body, the editors of Braving the Body, and of course our most beloved Allison, after our open mic. And we're actually doing pretty well on time, friends, if I, do this a little more. So let's go right to the open mic. As I like to say on Cultivating Voices Live Poetry, the open micers have been, will be, are always welcome to be the features. They all, so it's very fluid. We're in for just amazing poetry. 10 more poems. It's one poem a piece, folks, with up to 3 minutes. And our first reader, Mona Zamfirescu. Welcome, Mona.
Thank you so much, Sandy. I wanted to thank everyone. And what an amazing read, and what powerful poetry. I'm just floored. I mean, I feel shy reading my own little sonnet here, but I still wanted to say thank you to David for giving us his students the anthology. So I've been reading it. This is wonderful. Wow, what a gift. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. So, a sonnet. To hold the truth of our own youth in hands like mine or yours too tight, when we misjudge our folly's tooth and speak of worries left and right, I want to wave beyond the cast of colored hair, of slender body, and lie together here at last. Don't ask, and I won't tell the lie, how youth is flaring in my eyes, and yours the smile of ageless truth. To love these bodies, not to size, to love and hold beyond the youth. A simple kind of love whenever asked, our faults endearing, our judging past. Thank you.
Folks, I love to comment on everything, and I'm going to resist. But of course, isn't it amazing what a sonnet can do? Isn't it just absolutely incredible what a sonnet can do? Thank you. That's Mona Zamfirescu and Eelke Lampe. Great to have you with us today. Thank you very much for making time.
Thank you so much, Sandy, and what powerful readings. Thank you. Thank you all. I'm going to share a poem I wrote a little bit over a year ago, and I think it fits. Scars. To the left of my third eye you are, not far, and so distinct. 3-year-old full of life running around and around the square pedestal of the outdoor red brick clock, tripping and hitting the edge, blood streaming all over her face. Just underneath my right knee, a penny-sized glassy oval. 10-year-old on her bike on gravel road slipped and crashed. Tetanus made her nauseous. On my right inner ankle, faint cartography of blue and purple still asserting itself decades later. The door of a van slammed on the foot of the 23-year-old just before leaving for the US. Blessing in disguise. It slowed me down in New York City. Over the outer edge of my left eyebrow, a 2-pronged crescent rising up proudly. My teacher self coming back from picking up lunch after a museum trip with students while carrying the beloved gazpacho, she tripped on the front steps of the school, hitting her head on an edge, blood gushing, just like decades ago. Hidden message. Do not take the promotion. Protect your time for your creativity. And the invisible ones spoke loudly too. Left inner side of my right knee, hairline fracture, 2 weeks in the clinic, 6 weeks in a cast. The 19-year-old flew off Volko, the horse, scared by the headlights shining through the barn. Away from home, for good, for real. My left clavicle broke cleanly. The overextended one after her mother's death at 92 slammed into a construction fence after slipping on the uneven, not cared for walkway. You need time to rest. And the emotional ones buried deep inside, concealed from any probing eyes. How lucky are we who can count our scars and not perish in wars. Thank you.
Oh. Mm. Take in that last line, my friends. Take in that last line. Wow. That's Scars from Eelke Lampe. Thank you so much for sharing the poem today. Mm. Mm. Well, over to Canada. Our very recent guest host, David Brydges. Thank you so much, joining us from Alberta.
Ontario, Northern Ontario.
Ontario. My apologies. My apologies.
Alberta's my second love province. Thanks to all the poets for your reflections on all your inner traumas and tragedies, but your triumphs through poetry. In this godless world of temptations, sometimes a piece of heaven arrives to take away the day's bitterness. Faites-vous plaisir, for your pleasure. After all these years of carrying a somewhat dark secret, I have to confess, what began as an affair is a long-term relationship. Feeling boxed in, I'm trying to raise the bar of truth. When we first met, I thought you were a bit square. Flat-chested for sure. And sometimes nutty. But it was your fine brown skin, your fine brown eyes, your fine brown hair. Our first kiss, when I melted into you, sealing this smitten obsession. That aromatic perfume was an intoxicating compass. I was able to find you even in a busy supermarket. Consumed with desire, I grabbed you and quickly fled outside to bite, lick, kiss your lips, and nibble on the corner of your neck. Anything to feed a mouth-watering rendezvous again and again. Alas, all relationships, bar none, have sweet and bittersweet moments. I've given you so many names over the years. You have appeared in so many disguises. I'm finally unwrapping what I want to name you. The crown of my pleasure, my sweetheart treat, my worldly chocolate queen. And a post note, 9 out of 10 people like chocolate. The 10th lies. John G. Tullius.
I'm on record for chocolate obsession, for sure. Yeah, I'm just saying. Just saying. Like, yeah. Put me down anytime for a candy bar. Send them to me. Yeah. It's like parades, throw them out of parades. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. That's David Brydges. We're going next. One of our featured poets. This here's my example. Here's my precise example of what I was saying. Had just reading from her new collection in February in our new book showcase. Um, or in our featured our Poets Focus for February. Lynda V.E. Crawford, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. This is so powerful. I am glad I am here. The poem I'm going to read is very short. When I learned your theme, I said, "Oh my God, I've got a poem in my collection. I'm going to just read it." But I'm looking at my screen, so if I look away, don't worry. It's short. A woman's body sometimes. Sweat moistened suction, pulling in laughter. Home to long pubic hairs curled in familiarity between fingers. A woman's body sometimes. Sight of a foul-sized fibroid dropping clots in unexpected places. A plea for return of underarm fuzz after purged lymph nodes. A woman's body sometimes strolling uncupped from underwires, an even right breast singing. A woman's body sometimes lyrical resting place, happiest sprawled. End of poem. Thank you.
That's Lynda V. Crawford. Thank you very much. Again, folks, open micers, please do put your current collections in the chat as well. There are many, many eager readers here of your work as well. Over to South Dakota. Marcella Remund, welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well this Sunday afternoon.
Thank you. And I just have to say, I'm so grateful that I dropped in today because, oh my gosh, it's been amazing. I'm kind of breathless. I'm just going to read one short poem. And this is I had a stroke in 2012. So I guess if there's a content warning, it would be that this is a poem about having a stroke. So it's called Plea to Saint Adjutor, patron of boaters, swimmers, drowning victims. On a longboat, you take your stroke when the row leader yells, "All row." Once the rowing pattern is fixed, you watch the rower ahead of you. It's silent rowing to fool the enemy. The strokes are synchronized, like Esther Williams treading water in a yellow daisy swim cap. 12 bikinied blondes stretch one leg each into 12 long flower petals around her. I stroke in my sleep, no stern row leader to set a pattern, no Esther at the center to make it pretty, just the brain's sudden implosion. Cut loose from my moorings, I drift, bob, buoy, sink back into the womb. Deep under, I watch through a blur. My useless hands scallop, fishtail in the current. Saint Adjutor, drag my limp body to the surface, birth me onto dry land, cut these budding fins into fingers, teach me to breathe again. Thank you.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you. That's Marcella Remund. I want to say I think I'm echoing what David said just a few moments ago, but we're seeing the range of people writing from their joys, their joys to traumas, and here again the triumphs of the body, like the triumphs of, and I am always so grateful to hear the kaleidoscope of all of these types of poems. They're just so necessary. So thank you so much, Marcella, and continued spirit of powerful health to you. Well, next we go to Sylvia Clare. Beautiful to have you with us on the open mic. There's not a day that I am not happy to hear any of your poems.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to follow on the chocolate theme, actually. I had a whole list of poems lined up to see what was coming up, like scars and body dysmorphia and stuff like that, but I thought I'd go with a bit of humour as well. This is called Love Me Like Chocolate. Let your tongue slide across my salty, smooth surface as I slowly melt into you. Savour my sweetness, a dark temptress, no sooner tasted than more wanted. Even when put away for another day, I am on your mind, waiting for the moment to unwrap me once more and delve into my velvety softness. Let the knowledge of me grow inside you until you crave my scent, a yearning that draws you back. Love me for what I am, simple, delightful, complex and dark, salty or sweet, full of surprises, a nut or a chunk, a soft fruit, always waiting to offer you a new ecstasy. Drink me in, slipping warm down your throat, consuming me as I meet your yearning with my being. Desire my layers, foam on rock. Test each one with your senses. Love me like chocolate.
Kim, make a note. We're going to have a program, Poets Focus on Chocolate. Clearly, like at some point, get your little samplers out, everybody. Yeah. Okay.
I've written a whole series of chocolate poems.
There you go. There you go.
I've got about eight, I think, 8 or 9 now.
So Poets Focus, you'll be a feature, and then we'll have all the open micers with their chocolate poems. And in fact, someone's going to create an anthology of it. Talk about an anthology, and it'll look like Whitman sampler. That's a particular thing in the States. Okay. All right. I digress, and I must move on. Oh, when Beth S.K. Morris came into the room today, I just lit up. Thank you, Beth, for being with us. Can't wait to hear your poem. Thank you so much.
Oh, and what an inspirational day, Sandy.
Yeah, you said it. You said it, my friend.
Braving the Body coincides with International Women's Month and your 5th anniversary, and wow, good stuff. Okay, I'm going to be reading I'm going to be reading from a work that is also coming out this March, hopefully within another couple of weeks. It's called The Yellow Notebook, and it is a weird collaborative hybrid with my late father's writings, his writings and my poems. It's very reminiscent of Natalie Cole's duet mix with her father, Nat King Cole. And so this particular poem is in the inspiration of the body. And it begins with a section from his notebook, which was written in the last year. He died prematurely in 1977. So this comes from Dave's notebook. It begins with his note. The gilt spore machine with its controlled perforation scale is an improvement I tried to sell to our New York manufacturers 2 decades ago. Its ability to operate at 50 stitches to an inch sounds like a step forward, but I must caution the less experienced sewer that a close stitch is not always practical. Such close stitching may cause excess perforation and will tear when stretched. Dave's Notebook, 1977. The poem is called The Jacket. My father taught me how to sew. Hems, seams, tears. How to clean my clothes with a special brush he brought home from the shop. So when Howie and Bruce teased me after class, followed me on the way home from PS 174, powdered my new peacoat with chalk socks, ran after me into a strange apartment, chased me up the stairwell, tore the buttons off my coat, my shirt, took turns pinning me against the wall, told me not to tell my parents or they would kill me. I knew how to mend the damage before my sister got home from school. My parents got home from work, so nobody would know. Stay indomitable, everybody.
There it is. Stay indomitable. Thanks for reminding us that actually just coming up in June, we're going to bring back from last year a special feature on hybrid work in June for our new book showcase. So thank you. Congratulations on the book. Beth, thank you so much for the poem. And stay with us, folks. We're just going a little bit over today. I've just got 3 more poets. I might throw in a sonnet for good measure and a few program notes for you all. Again, every day I'm a broken record. The features are the open micers. Linette Rabsatt, there's not enough things I can say about you. So, and the folks who haven't heard you read yet, oh, they're in for something right now. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Sandy, and amazing performances and sharing by everyone today. I appreciate your work. Thank you so much for blessing the mic. This poem is about 2 members of the body. It's called Indecision. My heart said yes. I felt I was ready. I was like, we got this together. With the heart as the lead, I didn't have time to heed or the need to obey conventions or tenets. The heart was the superior organ that told me to leap and never follow the course, but the brain, who I feel is mostly insane, wanted me to stop and be careful, reminding me to be fearful. But I want whimsy. I need spontaneity. I need to feel less pressure to do better. When the brain kicked my heart in the privates, I almost felt that the sound was heard in public. I was torn and confused, not knowing which road to choose or who to listen to. My body stood stationary, confused by the impulses, twisted and confused, riddling with convulsing, passion halted by indecision. I gave up and made no move forward. Stuck. Thank you.
Yeah, folks need no introductions, so they just bring it. Just bring it. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. We'll see you soon. I believe, Amy Ash, this may be your debut on Cultivating Voices Live Poetry. And if I'm mistaken, major faux pas on my part. And if not, welcome and thank you.
Thank you so much. I was not aware of this series until this week. I got an invitation through Facebook, and I'm so thankful that I was able to be here today. It has been amazing. Allison, your poems are so beautiful and powerful, and everyone today has been wonderful. So thank you. I'm going to read a poem about my nipple as a content warning. It's about medical trauma and neglect and about the fight to be seen and to get the care that I needed.
Yes.
It's called Rorschach.
Rorschach. Wow.
Today, it's a butterfly, this pattern of blood in the cup of my bra. Yesterday, a chrysalis, all purulence and groom. Last week, it was a constellation, a galaxy, purple swirl of molecular clouds collapsed. It is a watery landscape, both archipelago and ocean, scary and spume. Often, it is a murky lake, edges rough and unwelcoming. I first thought it was a seahorse, dark creature caught in a net, but it must have been a mermaid. For so long, no one believed it was real. When the bleeding began last July, it was maybe just a smudge. Who can remember that long ago? Fogged breath on a mirror, edges undefined, tuft of shrubs, a fleck of glossy red in a field of brown. It is a sherd of pottery unearthed. It's a flag. Hidden from the wind, it doesn't wave, doesn't waver. Through the heat of one summer and all of the next, my nipple opened into ulcer, kiss of blister. Months after the biopsy, still the imprint of lace and petal, still flowers blooming through bandage each day. Who will read its leaves, scry its storm cloud, its watchful eye darkening? I know what I see. Thank you.
Well, Facebook did something right this week in bringing you to this program. Thank you. Uh, Amy, I want, bring more poems, please. Join us. You'll be getting the link. Those of you who have just registered for the first time and here in the room with us, just so you know, unless you let us know you don't want to receive the link every week, you will be receiving that. So we hope to hear your poems more and more. Before we go to me for a last poem and some notices, it's our last open micer joining us from Albuquerque, Billy Brown. As I like to say, Billy Possibility Brown. And sometimes I say Billy Encyclopedia Brown.
Your talk about chocolate has me wanting to send you another bag of chocolate chip cookies.
Please do.
And thanks to everyone from Braving the Body. What a terrific reading it has been. I don't know if this is a trigger warning, but this poem deals with love, loss, and grief. Her body. When she was a young girl, I made up bedtime stories like Adam Aardvark always ate avocados and artichokes. I sang my lullaby for her almost every night. I love Elizabeth. Oh, yes, I do. She often asked me to scratch her back as I sang until her body relaxed into deep sleep. She requested a lullaby and back scratch the night before she left for California to meet with friends as they prepared to embark on their separate college adventures. That was the last time I helped her body relax. When we got the news that Elizabeth died in a car crash, we immediately began to prepare to fly to California to collect her body and bring her home. The authorities told us there was not much for us to do, so we waited for her body to return to Albuquerque. We were requested permission to, quote, harvest her body parts for use as transplants, which we generously gave. It was too late for her heart and other internal organs. Her brown eyes and large bones were donated and now live on in bodies of grateful recipients. At the funeral home during the visitation, Elizabeth's body was there, dressed in some of her favorite clothing. She was no longer there. She was gone. Her smile, her laugh, her thoughts, her beauty, her spirit, all were gone. Now only love and memories remain. Feeling her arms, we noticed the wooden dowels which had replaced her large donated bones. Afterwards, we followed the vehicle carrying her body in a cardboard box to the crematorium. We witnessed her box slowly pushed into the fire. As we drove away, we could see the smoke. Now her body, ashes, rest in a beautiful purple urn. Some of them nourish a tall, lovely pear tree in the backyard where we all once played. Thank you.
That's Billy Brown with a very poignant take on the body. And, you know, I have been hearing your poems for Elizabeth now for 5 years, and they never cease to move me. Thank you for bringing that perspective to the program today, Billy. I'm going to end with I wasn't here last week, folks, because I was performing in a poetry circus in Seattle. And what that meant was I was reading a new crown of sonnets that I've written, all in the name of circus performers. It's one long poem in 12 parts. And the final part, number 12, is The Fat Lady, a very fat positive poem. And I thought it would be a really, well, we'll see how you receive it as a contribution. So here she is, The Fat Lady. So I provoke the utmost combustible, charming thrill with my rolls of skin, my Cheshire cat grin. I draw you in with pound after pound of flesh, grilled by sun, soon by flame. Still I will beat the odds, win over the fire. I am a credit to my sex. Every woman wants to be like me in the dark, larger than life, bearing all her teeth, her cherished heirs, her stunning children for one night only, when she becomes more than wife, sister, mother. For when she becomes rich with fat, there is nothing that can stop her from devouring every lover in her widest berth. The bed holds every spat she's held with her night sweats, her beloved's scars. And so what woman doesn't want also to be with me? To unburden her buried pleasures, her flaming hips warming my voluminous V, her gorged lips finding their ways to my reassuring nipples, fattening inside her mouth, until I am nothing to her, as she becomes nothing more than everything. Well, folks, you all have defied being nothing more than everything in today's reading. We began at the top of the hours with Allison Blevins, publisher of Small Harbor Publishing, the editor of the publisher of Braving the Body anthology. We have the editors from Braving the Body, Nicole Callihan, Pichchenda Bao, and Jennifer Franklin, and the contributors, many of you who are members of Cultivating Voices. So thank you for returning and joining us. Jan Beatty, Eileen Cleary, David Groff, Emily Hockaday, Jen Karetnick, Jackie Sherbow, Monica Suk, Donna Spruijt-Metz, and Ren Wilding. And all of our open micers, Mona Zamfirescu, Eelke Lampe, David Brydges, Lynda V.E. Crawford, Marcella Remund, Sylvia Clare, Beth S.K. Morris, Linette Rabsatt, Amy Ash, great debut, and Billy Brown. Folks, would you please unmute and show your appreciation for today's extremely brave voices, and I'll come back with just a few minutes of program notes.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you to everybody. Everybody here to read and here to listen, of course. You know, you hear me talk about how significant and important it is to practice deep listening, always, and especially in these times. And the number of us that were here to just listen and absorb the poems today. Wow, did we have an experience?
Sandy,
Well, folks,
I have to say, it's the first time in weeks that I feel I can breathe today. It was an amazing day. I don't know how anyone else feels, but I feel like my whole chest has been contracted since January.
yeah. Well,
And today, it just, everything just opened up from all of you. I really am grateful.
thank you so much, Beth, and I hope the readers, I hope you all can take that in. I hope you all can take that in. And I want to, as mentioned at the top of back at the top of the hour, this is our 5th anniversary month, and during Women's History Month here in the States, and next week, the day after International Women's Day, which is Saturday, the 8th, on the 9th, it's our new book showcase. And we will be featuring Kacho Neil McCullough will be joining us from Scotland. Kashiana Singh, Mega Sud, and Allison Prine will be our guests. Join us for our new book showcase. A program note, we're going to skip our March 16th wild card open mic. In preparation, however, for our 5th anniversary celebration on Sunday, March 23rd. It's our happy 5th birthday to Cultivating Voices Live Poetry Open Mic Celebration. All of you on the open mic. We're going to have as many voices as we can on the open mic for our party. And a very special program note, if you're planning to attend the Associated Writing Program's annual conference in Los Angeles at the end of the month from the 26th to the 29th of March, please do join us in person for a star-studded offsite collaboration with Swim Every Day. Jen Karetnick is here in the room representing Swim today. Mom Egg Review, Whale Road Review, and Perugia Press. As we celebrate our 5th anniversary in person, in collaboration with these astounding journals and press, and stay tuned for more details about that. Well, folks, take exceptionally good care of yourselves after this reading and during this week. And I always say, take good care of yourselves and take extremely good care of your beloveds, and keep braving your body and voice by writing and sharing your poetry, wherever you can. I do hope there will be another Braving the Body anthology. I know it's such hard work, so maybe not Nicole, Chenda, and Jennifer having to do the work of editing the anthology, although I know you have an incredible community that you've created from the anthology, that I really do hope this will inspire more anthologies on this power-filled, prismatic topic. That never goes away. Go ahead.
Sandy.
Yeah.
One thing that with Braving the Body, we've never wanted it to feel like just an anthology. It's not just a product. We love the anthology. It's one of a beautiful part of our community. But we've had many workshops and just like coming together and supporting each other. So it's something that we think of as much bigger than just, a book, so maybe we'll have another one as part of a continued process. Who knows?
Who knows?
But this was wonderful, and this was very in the spirit of Braving the Body. Thank you for having us.
Well, thank you. And I have really marveled at reading that about the ethos of your work to put the anthology together. It's been such a journey on many, many levels. And then with working with Allison, of course, is another facet to that journey, an amazing collaboration. And I've really marveled at how the three of you do speak so openly about this being, more than a book, more than a product, that it is really a community, and all the more reason why we were so hopeful to be able to bring your voices to our community. And again, there's a lot of intersections among the communities. So thank you again to the editors of Braving the Body, to all the contributors of Braving the Body, those who shared with us today, and the voices we didn't get to hear from today. there's many, many other names on the back of this beautiful, beautiful book from Small Harbor Publishing. Allison Blevins, we love you. And thank you everyone for being here today. I look forward to seeing you all next week for our new book showcase. I'm Sandy Yannone for Cultivating Voices Live Poetry. Be well this week, my friends.